Have you ever felt like you're just going through the motions, working day after day, yet wondering if any of it truly matters? You wake up, go to work, push through the same routine, and return home only to do it all over again. You see others achieving success, climbing higher, being recognized, while you feel unnoticed and unfulfilled. Maybe you've asked yourself, is this all there is? You're not alone. Millions of people feel stuck in jobs that seem meaningless, lost in a cycle of work that doesn't bring joy or purpose. The world tells us that success is measured by how much money we make, how many people praise us, or how high we climb on the corporate ladder. But what if I told you that true success has nothing to do with any of those things? What if the work you do right where you are has greater meaning than you ever imagined? Today I want to open your eyes to a new way of seeing your work, a way that frees you from the pressure of comparison, fills your heart with purpose, and transforms even the smallest tasks into something extraordinary. Let me tell you why your work matters more than you think. Work is not just a means of survival. It is a part of a greater purpose, woven into the very fabric of life. Too many people see their jobs as nothing more than a routine, a way to pay bills, put food on the table, and get by. They wake up, go through the motions, and come home exhausted, wondering if what they do every day truly matters. But work was never meant to be empty or meaningless. From the very beginning, it was part of the divine design for humanity. It was given not as a punishment, but as an opportunity, a way to participate in something greater than oneself. Every person has been placed in a specific position for a reason. No matter what the job may be, whether leading a business, teaching in a classroom, working in a hospital, or sweeping the floors of a building, there is purpose in it. Each role plays a part in the bigger picture, and no work is too small in the eyes of the one who created it all. A mechanic who repairs a vehicle is not just fixing an engine. He is making sure a parent can drive their child to school safely. A cashier at a grocery store is not just ringing up purchases. She is providing a service that helps families bring food to their homes. A construction worker laying bricks is not just building walls. He is creating a space where people will live, work, and make memories. When work is viewed from this perspective, even the most ordinary tasks take on new meaning. People often believe that only certain types of work have real significance. Positions of leadership, ministry, or professions that receive recognition. But true purpose is not found in a title or a paycheck. It is not about how much money is earned or how many people applaud. It is about the heart and intention behind the work. A janitor who cleans with care and diligence contributes just as much as the executive who sits in the corner office. A mother raising her children at home works just as hard as the CEO managing a corporation. Purpose is not about status. It is about faithfulness in whatever role has been given. Throughout history, great things have been built on the foundation of unseen, faithful work. The towering cathedrals that inspire awe today were not constructed by architects alone, but by thousands of nameless workers who laid each stone with care. The movements that changed the world were not led by leaders alone, but by countless individuals who worked behind the scenes, dedicating their efforts to something bigger than themselves. The smallest contributions, when done with the right heart, have the power to shape history. The problem arises when people separate their work from their sense of purpose. They believe that only what happens outside of work, their passions, their dreams, or their time spent in church, truly matters. But the truth is, work itself is a part of a calling. It is not separate from a life of faith. It is an extension of it. The same character, dedication, and love that people are called to show in their personal lives should also be reflected in their work. A person does not need to be a pastor to serve God. They can serve Him just as powerfully by being an honest business owner, a compassionate teacher, a skilled craftsman, or a diligent worker in any field. When work is approached with a heart of service, it becomes more than just a job. It becomes an act of obedience, an opportunity to honor something greater. Work is also one of the greatest ways to develop character. It teaches patience, discipline, and perseverance. It molds a person, shaping them into who they are meant to be. The struggles and challenges faced in the workplace are not just obstacles to overcome. They are lessons in endurance, faith, and growth. A difficult boss, an overwhelming workload, or a season of uncertainty are not just hardships. They are opportunities to strengthen trust, build resilience, and develop humility. Through work, people learn the value of integrity, the importance of perseverance, and the blessing of diligence. Even when the work seems unnoticed, it is never wasted. People may not always receive appreciation for their efforts, but that does not mean their work is meaningless. Every act of faithfulness, every moment of perseverance, every task done with excellence contributes to something far beyond what can be seen. The seeds of diligence that are planted today may not show results immediately, but they will bear fruit in time. What may seem like an insignificant effort in the present may turn out to be part of a much greater purpose in the future. Instead of looking at work as a burden, it should be seen as a calling. It is a place where character is tested and strengthened, where purpose is lived out, and where service to others becomes a reality. The perspective of work changes everything. It is no longer just about making money, climbing a ladder, or enduring another day. It is about fulfilling a role in a much greater story. Many people go through life feeling unseen and unappreciated in their work. They put in long hours, they remain faithful to their responsibilities, and yet no one seems to notice. There are no words of encouragement, no promotions, no recognition. It can feel like the work is wasted, as if the effort is poured into a well that never fills up. Over time, discouragement sets in, and the question arises, does any of this really matter? But there is one who sees what others overlook. There is one who knows every detail, every sacrifice, every moment of quiet perseverance. God does not measure work by the size of the task or the applause it receives. He does not overlook the unseen efforts of those who remain faithful, even when no one acknowledges them. The world celebrates success in ways that are often shallow, by wealth, status, and popularity, but God sees success differently. To Him, true success is not found in recognition, but in faithfulness. A person who shows up every day, who works with integrity, who does what is right, even when no one is watching, that is a success in God's eyes. There are people who spend their lives working behind the scenes. They never stand in the spotlight. They do not receive awards or promotions, but without them, nothing would function. The mother who wakes up before dawn to care for her children, the janitor who keeps the building clean, the worker who does his job quietly without seeking credit, all of them are seen by God. Every action, no matter how small, is recorded. Every sacrifice, no matter how unnoticed by others, is valued. The problem is that people often look for validation in the wrong places. They seek approval from others, hoping for acknowledgement, but human recognition is fleeting. The same world that praises today can forget tomorrow. A person can give their best, yet still be overlooked. They can do everything right and still not be rewarded in the way they expect. That is why relying on human recognition leads to disappointment. But when work is done with the understanding that God sees and values every effort, it brings a new sense of purpose. There is a peace that comes from knowing that no effort is wasted, that nothing done with a sincere heart goes unnoticed. Scripture is filled with stories of those who worked faithfully even when no one else noticed. Joseph was thrown into prison for years, yet he remained faithful. He did not receive immediate recognition, but God was watching. When the time was right, Joseph was elevated to a position of great influence. David was tending sheep long before he became a king. He was not seen by men, but he was seen by God. His faithfulness in the small things prepared him for something greater. These stories remind us that obscurity does not mean insignificance. The world may not see, but God does. Some of the greatest work ever done was done in secret. The prayers of a grandmother on her knees, the sacrifices of a father who provides for his family without complaint, the kindness of a teacher who pours into students without expecting anything in return. These things may never make headlines, but they shape lives. The impact of quiet faithfulness often extends far beyond what can be seen. When people realize that their work is seen by God, it changes the way they approach it. It is no longer about seeking approval from others. It is no longer about whether the boss notices, whether the customers appreciate it, whether the world applauds. It becomes about something greater. It becomes an act of obedience, an offering of faithfulness, a reflection of character. The standard shifts from will I be recognized to am I being faithful? It is easy to become discouraged when efforts seem to go unnoticed. It is easy to wonder if the work is making any difference at all. But the truth is, every moment of integrity, every act of perseverance, every unseen effort matters. The reward may not come in the way expected. It may not come in the form of promotions or praise. But God does not forget. He honors those who remain faithful. And He has a way of using even the smallest, most overlooked efforts for something greater than can be imagined. There is a greater purpose behind every job, every task, every responsibility. Whether standing before thousands or working in complete obscurity, whether receiving applause or being ignored, every effort counts. The world may not see, but God always does. The world has created a definition of success that revolves around wealth, status, and recognition. People are told that success means climbing the corporate ladder, gaining influence, or accumulating possessions. They are taught that their value is measured by how much they achieve, how many people know their name, and how much praise they receive. Because of this, many chase after worldly success, believing that once they reach a certain level, they will finally feel fulfilled. But the truth is, no amount of money, fame, or applause can satisfy a heart that is seeking meaning in the wrong places. True success is not measured by how much is gained, but by how faithful a person is with what they have been given. There are those who will never stand on a stage, never earn a fortune, never receive public recognition, and yet in the eyes of God, they are more successful than those who have everything the world calls great. That is because God does not judge success by the same standards people do. He looks at the heart. He sees the quiet sacrifices, the honest work, the integrity that remains even when no one is watching. A person who remains faithful in the small things, who does their best with what they have, who serves with a sincere heart. That person is truly successful. Many struggle with the feeling that their work is insignificant because they compare themselves to others. They see people achieving great things, gaining recognition, moving forward in life, and wonder why their own efforts seem to go unnoticed. They question whether they are doing enough, whether they have failed, whether they will ever amount to anything. But comparison is a thief. It steals joy. It distorts perspective. And it makes people forget that they have their own unique path. No two lives are the same. And what God calls one person to do may not be what He calls another to do. The goal is not to measure success by what someone else is doing. The goal is to be faithful in the work that has been given. There are those who have spent years pouring their effort into something, and yet they see no major results. A mother raising her children may feel that her work goes unseen. A teacher investing in students may wonder if he is making a difference. A worker in an office may feel like just another cog in the machine. But faithfulness is never wasted. The results of work may not always be immediate, but they are real. A seed planted today may take years to grow, but in time it will bear fruit. The impact of quiet, consistent effort often cannot be measured in the moment, but that does not mean it is meaningless. History is filled with stories of people who remained faithful long before they saw any results. There were missionaries who worked for decades before they saw a single convert. There were inventors who failed 1,000 times before they finally succeeded. There were leaders who faced rejection over and over again before they found their purpose. But the key was that they remained faithful. They did not give up when things seemed slow. They did not abandon their calling because no one noticed. They trusted that if they kept going, their work would eventually have meaning. And it did. Success in the eyes of the world is temporary. A person can build a fortune, achieve greatness, gain all the recognition they desire, and still feel empty. There have been countless stories of people who reached the highest levels of success only to realize that it was not enough. They had everything they thought they wanted, but something was still missing. That is because true success is not about what is gained. It is about who a person becomes in the process. A life built on faithfulness, integrity, and service will always be more fulfilling than a life built on chasing status. Work is not about achieving fame or fortune. It is about fulfilling a purpose. Some are called to lead nations, while others are called to serve quietly behind the scenes. Some will have jobs that bring them before crowds, while others will work in places where no one sees what they do. But in the end, what matters is not how visible the work is, but how faithfully it is done. Those who remain steadfast, who work with diligence, who stay committed even when the rewards are not immediate, those are the ones who will experience the deepest fulfillment, because true success is not found in the applause of people, but in knowing that every effort was made with sincerity, integrity, and purpose. One of the greatest struggles people face in their work is the habit of comparison. From an early age, society teaches that success is measured by how well one performs in relation to others. People compare salaries, promotions, titles, and achievements, believing that if they do not measure up, they have somehow failed. Social media magnifies this struggle as people are constantly exposed to the highlight reels of others. Seeing friends and colleagues achieving milestones, gaining recognition, and seemingly moving forward while they themselves feel stuck. This leads to frustration, discouragement, and a sense of inadequacy. But comparison is a trap, a never-ending cycle that steals joy and distorts reality. It shifts the focus away from individual purpose and makes people chase after a standard that was never meant for them. Every person has a unique path. No two lives are the same, and no two callings are identical. The work one person is given may look completely different from the work of another, but that does not make it any less valuable. The farmer who spends his days tending crops is just as important as the doctor who saves lives in a hospital. The teacher shaping young minds is just as significant as the CEO running a company. The mother caring for her children at home is just as vital as the entrepreneur building a business. Each person has been given a specific role, and fulfillment does not come from comparing paths. It comes from embracing one's own purpose wholeheartedly. The problem with comparison is that it blinds people to their own progress. When they spend their time looking at what others are doing, they fail to see how far they have come. They overlook the small victories, the lessons learned, the growth that has taken place. A person who constantly compares themselves to someone ahead of them will always feel behind. But success is not about reaching someone else's destination. It is about being faithful in one's own journey. There are many who feel dissatisfied with their work, not because it lacks value, but because they have measured it against someone else's success. A person may love their job, but the moment they see someone else achieving more, they begin to question whether they are doing enough. A business owner may feel proud of their accomplishments until they see another entrepreneur making more money. A dedicated worker may be content in their role until they see a colleague getting promoted. This mindset creates a restlessness that prevents people from truly appreciating where they are. Instead of focusing on their own path, they waste energy chasing after something that was never meant for them. One of the greatest dangers of comparison is that it leads to resentment. When people feel like they are working just as hard as others but not receiving the same recognition, bitterness can creep in. They start to believe that life is unfair, that they have been overlooked, that their efforts do not matter. This resentment can turn into frustration, making work feel like a burden rather than a calling. But the truth is, no one's journey is as easy as it seems. The person who appears to have everything may be struggling in ways that are not visible. The colleague who received a promotion may be carrying burdens that others do not see. The entrepreneur who built a successful business may have endured years of failure before reaching success. Every person has their own struggles, their own obstacles, their own challenges. Comparison fails to take this into account, making it an inaccurate way to measure success. The key to overcoming comparison is to shift the focus from what others are doing to what has been entrusted to each individual. Instead of looking sideways, people must look upward, seeking fulfillment not in how they measure up to others, but in how faithful they are in their own work. The goal is not to be better than someone else. The goal is to be the best version of what one is called to be. A person who does their job with integrity, who gives their best effort, who remains faithful even when no one is watching. That person is successful, regardless of what the world says. When people learn to stop comparing, they find freedom. They no longer feel the pressure to prove themselves to others. They no longer feel the weight of trying to keep up with someone else's success. Instead, they find peace in knowing that their work has value, not because it is recognized by the world, but because it is done with purpose. They are able to celebrate the success of others without feeling insecure. They are able to appreciate their own progress without needing validation. They are able to focus on what truly matters, being faithful in the work they have been given, no matter how big or small it may seem. There is great fulfillment in embracing one's own path. When people stop comparing and start focusing on their own calling, they discover a joy that cannot be taken away by someone else's success. They realize that their worth is not determined by their achievements, but by their faithfulness. And in the end, it is not about how they compare to others. It is about how well they lived out the purpose they were given. Many people go through life carrying the weight of frustration and discouragement because they do not see immediate results from their work. They invest time, energy, and effort, yet the rewards seem distant, almost invisible. They do their best, yet nothing seems to change. This can be disheartening, making it easy to question whether their work has any real value. But the truth is, the impact of faithfulness is often not seen right away. Some of the greatest rewards in life come not in the moment, but in the unseen, in the long term, in the ways that cannot always be measured by human standards. The world conditions people to expect instant results. Fast food, instant messaging, same-day delivery. Everything is designed for speed. Because of this, patience is often lost. People want to see the fruit of their labor immediately. If they work hard, they want quick promotions. If they start something new, they want immediate success. If they make sacrifices, they want instant recognition. But some of the most meaningful rewards in life require time, perseverance, and trust in something greater than instant gratification. A farmer does not plant seeds and expect to see a full harvest the next day. He understands that growth takes time. He waters, he nurtures, he protects the crop, knowing that even when he cannot see the growth happening, something is taking place beneath the surface. In the same way, faithfulness in work often produces results that are not visible at first. A teacher who pours into students may not see the full impact of their lessons for years. A parent raising children may not realize the depth of their influence until much later in life. A worker who remains diligent in their job, even without recognition, is building a reputation of integrity that will open doors in ways they cannot predict. There are countless examples of people who remain faithful in their work, even when the rewards were delayed. A missionary may labor for years before seeing a single conversion, but their persistence leads to a ripple effect that changes generations. An inventor may fail hundreds of times before finding success, but their perseverance leads to breakthroughs that transform industries. A writer may struggle for years before their words reach the right audience, but in time their work makes a difference in ways they never imagined. The delay in results does not mean failure. It means the process is still unfolding. Some of the greatest rewards in life come when people least expect them. A simple act of kindness given in faithfulness may touch a life in a way that is never fully known. A commitment to excellence in work may lead to opportunities that were never anticipated. A life lived with integrity may leave a legacy that outlasts anything material. The rewards of faithfulness are not always measured in wealth or fame. Sometimes they are found in the quiet satisfaction of knowing that a job was done well, that a difference was made, that a life was lived with purpose. One of the most powerful aspects of faithfulness is that it builds something lasting. Short-term success can come and go, but work done with consistency and integrity leaves a lasting impact. A business built on shortcuts may rise quickly but crumble just as fast. A person who chases after fleeting success may gain temporary recognition but lose their sense of purpose in the process. But those who remain steadfast, who continue doing good even when the results are not immediate, will find that their work has a lasting effect. This principle is seen not just in work but in relationships, character, and life itself. A strong marriage is built not on one grand gesture but on years of small acts of love and commitment. A good reputation is not earned overnight, but through a lifetime of integrity. A deep faith is not developed through one experience, but through continuous trust in the face of challenges. Everything meaningful takes time. It is easy to grow weary when the results are slow. It is tempting to give up, to stop trying, to believe that faithfulness does not matter. But the greatest rewards often come to those who do not quit. The unseen efforts, the unnoticed sacrifices, the quiet moments of perseverance. These are the things that shape lives, open doors, and create something that lasts far beyond the present moment. Faithfulness is never wasted, even when the results are not immediately visible, even when the rewards seem delayed, even when it feels like no progress is being made. Something is happening. Growth is taking place. A foundation is being built. And in time, the rewards will come in ways greater than can be imagined. Work is not just about earning a paycheck, climbing the ladder of success, or achieving personal goals. It is about something much greater, serving others. When people view their work as an opportunity to give, rather than just a means to receive, everything changes. The burden of trying to prove oneself disappears. The pressure to achieve for the sake of recognition fades away. The joy of making a difference takes its place. Work in its highest form is an act of service, a way to contribute to something beyond oneself, a means to impact lives in ways that cannot always be measured. Every job, no matter how big or small, has the potential to serve others. A doctor saves lives, but so does the janitor who keeps the hospital clean and safe. A teacher educates students, but so does the bus driver who gets them to school each day. A leader makes important decisions, but so does the assistant who helps carry out those decisions. The value of work is not determined by its title, but by its impact. When a person understands this, even the most routine tasks become meaningful. A person who cleans a room with excellence is serving those who enter it. A worker who performs their job with integrity is contributing to the well-being of those around them. A business owner who treats employees with kindness is shaping an environment where people feel valued. Work done in service to others transforms an ordinary job into something extraordinary. There is a deep fulfillment that comes from knowing that one's work is making a difference in someone else's life. Many people spend their days feeling empty, not because they lack success, but because they lack purpose. They achieve, they earn, they accomplish, but something is still missing. That is because true fulfillment does not come from personal gain alone. It comes from knowing that one's efforts are benefiting others. A person who works only for themselves will always feel like something is lacking. But a person who works with the intention of serving others will find joy, even in the smallest tasks. Serving through work does not always mean doing something dramatic. It does not require standing on a stage, leading a movement, or making grand gestures. Sometimes, the greatest acts of service are found in the simplest moments. A kind word to a coworker who is struggling, a willingness to go the extra mile for a customer, a patient attitude when dealing with difficult people. These small acts may seem insignificant, but they have the power to change the course of someone's day or even their life. A word of encouragement may give someone the strength to keep going. A simple act of kindness may remind someone that they are not alone. A job done with care and attention may inspire someone to do the same. People often underestimate the impact they have on others. They assume that because their work is not widely recognized, it does not matter. But the truth is, service is not about being seen. It is about making a difference. Whether noticed or not, a single act of kindness can create a ripple effect. A person who is treated with kindness at work may go home and treat their family with more patience. An employee who is encouraged may find the motivation to pursue their dreams. A leader who serves with humility may inspire others to do the same. The effects of service extend far beyond the moment, reaching places that may never be fully known. One of the most remarkable things about serving through work is that it transforms not only those who are served, but also the one who serves. A person who works only for personal gain may find success, but they will also find stress, exhaustion, and an endless desire for more. But a person who works with the purpose of giving will find peace, satisfaction, and a sense of meaning that cannot be taken away. Service removes the focus from self and places it on something greater. It lifts the weight of competition and comparison. It allows work to become more than just a task. It becomes a calling. The world teaches that success is measured by how much is gained. But the greatest success is found in how much is given. Those who dedicate their work to serving others leave behind a legacy that outlasts titles, salaries, and achievement. They leave behind changed lives, inspired hearts, and a world that is better because of their efforts. Work done in service to others is work that truly matters. At the end of the day, the measure of a meaningful life is not found in titles, salaries, or the applause of others. It is found in faithfulness, in integrity, in the quiet, unseen moments where you choose to do what is right, even when no one is watching. Your work is not insignificant just because the world doesn't celebrate it. The impact you make, the lives you touch, the kindness you show, the effort you put in, matters far more than fleeting recognition. Stop chasing the approval of others. Stop measuring your worth by someone else's success. Your path is your own, designed for you and no one else. Instead of striving to be seen, strive to be faithful. Instead of seeking praise, seek purpose. When you let go of comparison and embrace the unique role you've been given, you will find a joy that no paycheck, no promotion, and no applause could ever provide. So whatever work you do, do it with excellence. Do it with a heart of service. Do it knowing that even if the world overlooks you, your efforts are never wasted. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and the work you do matters more than you will ever know.